Part of me thought, well, it must be working. Not part of me, I think I fully believed it must be working because everyone's complimenting me and all I wanted to do was collapse. It's my own experience with disordered eating. Welcome back to the Get Buff with Reets podcast. Today, I want to share something that I haven't really spoken about in depth before. It's my own experience with disordered eating. This started more than 15 years ago, and it really shaped the way that I saw myself, my body, and food for years. The reason I'm bringing it up today is because I spotted the same pattern in a relative recently. Honestly, it all just came flooding back. I spent about 2 days with them, and it was so clear and apparent to me that they were struggling. The way they avoided food, navigated their day without eating, blaming it on things like allergies, these were things that I've seen in myself. I recognized it instantly because I'd been there too. So let's talk about how it started, what it looked like, and the moment I knew that I couldn't keep on going, and exactly how I found myself out of it. So, how did it start? For me, it all started with control, or more accurately, the lack of it. When you've got an autoimmune disease like Crohn's, your body is constantly attacking itself. It's constantly inflamed and it feels like your body has a mind of its own. I was on steroids and I put on so much weight so quickly. There's a moment I remember so vividly. I must have been about 12 or 13 years old, and I was with my mum in Pumpkin Patch, one of those old children's clothes stores that doesn't exist anymore, at least not around here. I was trying things on, outfit after outfit, but nothing would fit me. Nothing in my age range, nothing that they had in the store would fit me. My mum was stressed, overwhelmed, and she had a go at me. Not because she hated me or that I had done anything wrong, but in that moment, she just felt so much pressure. But that moment stuck. And when I look back, that's the point that this had all started. I recently had a conversation with my mum about it after watching this relative. And I said, I was talking about this moment in this store where she had snapped at me. I assumed that she had known about my disordered eating, and she said she didn't. She never picked up on it. And truthfully, I believe her because she had her own complicated relationship with food. The patterns we learn as children shape how we view food and our bodies as we grow up. We're shaped and molded by everything around us. We don't just end up with patterns of disordered eating out of nowhere. At that time in our house, there was probably more crisps, chocolate, and junk than real food in the kitchen. Nutrition wasn't modeled, and neither was self compassion. So I felt like I was on my own figuring it out. And then, of course, you have the cultural pressure. If you've grown up in an Asian or ethnic household, you'll know exactly what I mean. The relatives that come round and comment on your weight just the moment that you've stepped through the door. You've put on weight, or you're looking a little bit ill or sickly. It isn't whispered, it's addressed at you in front of everyone like it's public information. Those comments stick and they hurt, especially at that age because everything feels like judgment. And it only made me more determined to control how I looked. Once that flip had switched in my head, food became the one thing that I felt I could control. Or at least I thought it was something that I was controlling. In our house, sit down meals weren't very common because we would all snack throughout the day. So it was easy to miss that I wasn't eating if everyone was eating meals at different times. The only time I remember it being difficult was when we were having a takeaway. And at school, I'd hide my lunch money and go without lunch because to me that was an easy meal to miss. This was my early teenage years. So it was really easy to pass off as, oh, I'm not hungry, my tummy hurts because I had Crohn's, or I'll eat later. And then when I got home, I would jog around the house for hours. It didn't take long for my mum to get me a treadmill because she thought what I was doing was healthy. She thought I was exercising and looking after myself, not realizing that at this point it was an obsession. I wouldn't stop until I had done the exact amount of time I had set myself, and that usually was multiple hours. I wouldn't do a minute or even a second less than what my target had been for that day. And then I would lay in bed at night feeling so lightheaded and sick, but I would still refuse to eat. I told myself what I was doing was willpower, when really the only thing I was doing was punishing myself and my body. By this point, I didn't really have any friends at school. By doing this, I was isolating myself even further. The only thing that mattered to me was how I looked, my body, and the rules that I had set for myself. Inside, I was completely exhausted. And outside, it looked like discipline to everyone else. By the time that I had got to college, these habits were so ingrained in me. I didn't even see them as extremes. They were just my everyday normal. I remember going back to my old high school. It was an open day, and everyone was commenting on how good I looked. They had no idea that I was starving myself and punishing my body daily. They had no idea how much time I spent running and doing cardio, grinding out these hours of grueling workouts where my body, my joints were inflamed and in pain. They just saw a thinner version of me and assumed it was healthy. And the thing is, those compliments made it so much worse. They validated everything that I was doing. I was dizzy, exhausted, and living on almost nothing. Part of me thought, well, it must be working. Not part of me, I think I fully believed it must be working because everyone's complimenting me. They can see the difference. They can see the hard work that I'm putting in. After every cardio session, I was completely shattered. I was achy and drained, and all I wanted to do was collapse. But instead of seeing that as my sign to stop, I wore it like some sort of badge of honor. I believed feeling wrecked, feeling exhausted meant that I was doing it right. I fit into a UK size 4. I had this pair of designer jeans, and I was so proud that they were a US size 0. That's all you'd see in magazines. I remember at that point, the 00 was a thing. I thought I'd won, but I was thin and I still felt fat. It wasn't good enough. My thighs still jiggled and touched. I didn't have a thigh gap. I felt weak. And I realized that the goalpost that I was setting myself would always move. I'd never reach my goal because my goal would keep getting further and further away. This was all over 15 years ago. And looking back now, it's like I'm watching a different person live my life. Back then, I thought I was so strong, but I was just exhausted, hungry, and my whole world revolved around avoiding food like it was the plague and burning an unhuman amount of calories per day. Now, my relationship with food is completely unrecognizable. I still have Crohn's. In fact, I had my gallbladder removed 6 weeks ago, and I have a long list of allergies and intolerances. But I love food. My digestive system literally hates me, but I still love to eat. I fuel myself to train. I eat meals that satisfy me, not just as a physical fullness, but also emotionally. I can go to a restaurant without panicking over the menu. This past month alone, I've eaten out more times than I can count. And not once have I thought, oh, I need to go burn this off now, or maybe I shouldn't. 10 or 15 years ago, that would have been unthinkable for me. When I was out with this relative recently, because I could see the patterns, I suggested we all get dessert. And I could see in her eyes, she really wanted dessert, but she wanted to hesitate. So I made it like a big activity, like, yes, we're going to get dessert, let's spoil ourselves. And when I say she cleared off that dessert, cleared it off, part of me wishes I could have this conversation with her. But the truth is, if you're not ready, it's not something that you want to hear. And from experience, I can understand that. It's taken me years of unlearning and rewiring my brain to rebuild trust with my body and letting go of the idea that my worth is linked to my dress size. I would never trade in my strength, physically and mentally, for a pair of jeans again, especially those size 0 jeans. Spotting those patterns in my relative really showed me how disordered eating can go so unnoticed if you don't know what you're looking for. It can hide in plain sight. Sometimes even the people that are closest to you won't pick up on it, just like my mum didn't notice. And being in that place can honestly it can make you feel like you're invisible. It's isolating and it's lonely. If any part of my story today hit close to home, maybe you've been in that place yourself. Maybe you've seen someone that you care about go through it. I want you to know that healing your relationship with food is possible. It's something I work on with my clients all the time in our coaching with our buff rewire system. It's why I've designed it the way that it is. We have nutritional psychoanalysis that helps us dig into things like emotional eating, guilt, identity, and the patterns that keep us stuck. So you can actually feel in control without the obsession. If you want to know more about what that looks like or how I could help you personally, the link is in the show notes, or you can DM me directly on Instagram. And I'll leave you with this. Thinness never brought me peace. Eating did. Living did. And that's the part that's worth chasing.